Hello and welcome back to Xpwaste, where Plankmake has the coolest animation and the worst sound in all of old school RuneScape. Hi, I'm Michael.
And I'm Oxie. That's a devastating realization. I don't think I've ever cast Plankmake. I don't think I would know that. But if you're new around here, like I said, my name is Oxie. That's Michael. This is the Xpwaste podcast, and we talk about old school RuneScape a lot. That's kind of our thing. We talk about RuneScape, particularly old school RuneScape, pretty much 24/7. We tend to get a bit tangential from time to time, but if you're here, you're probably here for RuneScape, and you're in the right place. If you're not new around here, sailing ain't too bad. But we'll get to that. Michael, what you been up to this week?
I have been a lot of Plankmake. That's why I said that in the intro. Yeah. So I'm kind of in this weird spot. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to explain because like I'm still having fun on the iron, obviously. But for me, some of my goals, like I'm getting to the point where my goals are taking longer. And so I can't just log in, do whatever and feel accomplished. So it's to the point now where a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is more of a commitment than it used to be. And I'm nearing 2K total level. So I hatched this plan, and you'll probably hear more about it next week on Achievement of the Week. But I hatched this plan where I wanted to get 99 magic and 2K total at the same time. So my options were I go and waste a bunch of runes and kill monkeys and like get 99 magic fairly quickly, or I can stop procrastinating and I can get all of the planks that I needed made. And so I have a bunch of logs that I'm turning into mahogany planks, and it's not like the slowest XP for magic, but it's not fast. Like an entire inventory, so that's like 26 logs takes 90 seconds to like just let it auto cast the whole thing. So it's perfect for recording booth, it's perfect for editing, it's perfect for just like watching TV, but it's kind of slow, but it gets the job done. So I'm going to get like pretty close to 99 magic, and then I'm going to go and bust out like an easy level, like I think I have 75k until 92 range. So then I'll go get some range levels, and that'll put me at 1999. And then I'll finish out 99 magic, and I'll have 2k total and 99 magic at the same time. But along the way, I'm going to be making a bunch of my planks into a bunch of my logs into planks rather. So I think for now, the goal is to have enough planks to get to 90 construction. So I'm 82 right now. I haven't done any of the calculations, but like I'm just going to go until like all of my astral runes are gone. I've used 10,000 of them so far, so that's made about 5k planks, and I still have 10,000 left, so I'll make another 5k, and surely 10,000 mahogany planks doing mahogany homes will get me to 90 construction. I think it's going to be way less than that.
How many logs do you say?
I'll have 10,000 planks, which is a lot. I could do the calculations, but like I don't want to take all that time during the podcast to do that. I am going to confidently say 10,000 mahogany planks is probably close to like 92, 93 if I had to just make a guess, because I'll have about 10,000 more after that. So if I get to halfway, then I'll be halfway done. That makes sense. But Plankmake is, like I said in the beginning, it's a really cool animation because you cast a spell and it like spins the log and like you see wood chips flying off. And then at the end, you're left with a plank just floating in the air. But they made it like a chainsaw sound, like zzz. It's just bad. So I wouldn't recommend doing Plankmake with the sound on unless you hate your life. But been doing a bit of Plankmake, and I made it up to 100,000 blood runes. I hit a white stack of blood runes finally. I'm halfway through 83, almost 84 rune crafting. Honestly, dude, like I think probably within like the next month, I'll have 86, and that'll be another elite diary done.
Oh yeah,
because recently I got 77 fishing and 84 cooking, which is the minimum requirements you need to do the Kurend Elite Diary. So
you already
need to catch an angler.
You already have the Hydra requirement, right? Like you can just go.
Yeah,
you already kill the Hydra.
Yeah, I boosted to kill just the baby Hydra.
Yeah,
from 92.
I did the same thing. Yeah, I boosted that shit from 90, dude. I boosted that shit way earlier than 92.
Yeah, it like if it was kill Hydra like the boss, I think that would have been a better achievement. But they decided to let you boost it from 90. It doesn't quite make sense when you think about like 93 to kill Thermi, and you can't boost it, but then they let you boost it from 90. And it's a higher Slayer requirement. I don't know.
Well,
we're getting
so
in
it was
semantics.
it was already the precedent, right? You can't ever break the precedent in old school RuneScape for anything. And Thermi was already set to be the most difficult thing, so they couldn't bring that achievement in because Kurend, I'm fairly certain, was added later. Like, I don't know. Osrs Diary Cape. When was that added to the game? The Diary Cape was added to the game in 2016, the 6th of May, 2016.
Wow.
And in particular, not Twiggy. Who are we looking for? We're looking for Elise. She was not added until 2019. So they did not get any updates to get Rada, because Rada's Blessing came out in 2019, I'm pretty sure, because it was after Hydra released. So Thermi was already established as the hardest task, and we can't ever make anything more difficult, clearly.
I guess in terms of like, you're getting 93 already, so most people probably already go to 95, not realizing you can boost it. So I feel like for most people, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But yeah, you can boost from 90 to 95 to kill a Hydra. Will you kill it in a minute? I don't know, depending on the level, I guess. Like, I didn't kill it in a minute, so luckily I was boosted to like 97.
You just keep eating
pies.
I
also, bro, that's true. I also just went like with full Graceful and a Fang. I didn't really care. It wasn't like fully geared, but it was easy. And now I have the Rada's Blessing 4, which is a great upgrade. I can use that as like a teleport. So the main reason I wanted to do it was the teleport to Mount Karum, because it's not a close teleport to a bank, but it's close enough that like if I'm skilling, particularly doing Zaya, if I'm doing Zaya runecrafting, there's no way for me to teleport out of the mines unless I bring like a skills necklace or whatever. And I was bringing a skills necklace, but now that I have the blessing, I'm just going to wear the blessing and teleport to Mount Karum if I ever need a bank, which is super nice. And it's unlimited, so I can use it for like Konar tasks and stuff, but I'm not doing Konar full time anymore. I'm doing Duradel or Kuradel, whatever you want to say. But other than that, lots of plank make, lots of runecrafting, did a few raids, haven't seen a purple. I did realize that I'm very, very spooned at Chambers. So I can't complain. I literally can't complain because in like 200 raids, I have 7 purples. So,
dude,
for me,
yeah, you're
very spooned.
That's crazy. That's absolutely absurd. Well,
so it was in like, I think it was even like 160 when I got my last purple. So I don't know the exact KC, but it was like 160, 150 maybe. It was very spooned. So I feel like a dry streak is coming, unfortunately.
You're in it, baby.
Welcome to
going the next 80 dry.
But Chambers is fun, so I'm not going to complain. I saw a purple not in my name, which was an arcane. I think that Spari got. So yeah, this week has been pretty slow though. And like I said, I'm kind of like, I'm twiddling my thumbs a little bit at this point in the account. It's getting to the point where grinds are longer, and I'm looking at my skills and I'm like, it's going to be like 5 hours to the level. But we're doing it. We're doing it. I think my goal that I'm setting my sights on right now is going to be Diary Cape. If I can get Diary Cape in 2025, I'll be a happy camper. I know I said I wanted 2,200 total in 2025, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think at the very least, I could shoot for maybe 2,100 total in 2025.
Are you lowering the goalposts? It's March. Why are you lowering the goalpost, dog? What?
I don't know. I want to be realistic with my goals. Yes, 2,200 would be great, but I'm just looking at my skills right now, and like 2,200 is like base 90 something.
Isn't 2,200 like a stretch goal of yours?
I don't know. Is it a stretch goal or is it my actual goal? Oh, I put base 85s or 2200 total. So I guess I could shoot for base 85s as the goal, and then if that gets me 2100. But I kind of just wrote numbers, you know? Ooh, nice. So I've already completed one of my goals for this year. Hell yeah. Questscape. But how is your week going? I know that you were really busy yesterday.
Dude, yesterday was devastating. Yesterday was a devastating
Devastating.
day. Yeah,
Oh no.
I had a fencing tournament. I fenced all 3 events, and I was going for my national rating in Saber. And the TLDR, we had a training day back in February. We drove down to Ann Arbor. We did this whole training day. And on the way back, I'm a Saber fencer. Everyone else is a foil fencer. I said, I'm pretty sure I can confidently beat everyone in the car in a Saber bout. And I said, one of my teammates was like, "Yeah, you think so?" And I said, "Yeah, well, maybe this one kid might give me some trouble because he's like generational talent. He's very good at fencing." I said he might give me some trouble, but everybody else, yeah, I could absolutely beat him. And he was like, "Okay, yeah, you think so?" And that night he signed up for our tournament that was yesterday. And I saw it weeks ago, probably like 6, 7 episodes ago. I found it mid episode and I took it personal. And I got so pissed off at that, seeing that my teammate signed up for the Saber event to prove a point, that I texted my coach, my RuneScape playing Saber coach. I brought her some socks from RuneFest, by the way. She loved them. And I said, "Hey, I'll be there every Monday for the next 6 weeks." Like, I went to the gym after we recorded. I was in such a bad mood and trained for weeks and weeks and weeks. Ended up facing that teammate in the semifinals and lost to him 15-11. And it was a
Oh
devastating defeat.
no.
The entire season, the entire 24-25 fencing season has been, you gave it everything you had and it still was not good enough. So I did not get my national rating in Saber. I fenced foil. I don't really care about foil. I was just there for funsies. So the Michigan division has a little. They do this award every year called the Iron Man. It's the Iron Man, Iron Woman, Iron Kid. So Tiki asks, is 15-11 in fencing like soccer 15-11 or like a basketball 15-11? It's probably closer to a soccer 15-11. Realistically, it's 15-11 is ridiculous in soccer. I would probably put it up to like you lost 2-1 in soccer. Like it was 1-1 for 85 minutes and they scored a goal with 5 minutes left, and even through extra time you just couldn't score because it was pretty evenly matched the entire time, and he got like 3 touches up and it was 14-11, and I said, "All right, fuck it, it's 4 more. I've come back from this. I don't care." And then I made a small mistake and I lost, and I was absolutely devastated. And then he had the audacity to walk up to my mom, my sister, and both of the teammates who were with me and go, "You guys are traitors." And I literally saw it from across the gym, walked over and stood between him and my mom and sister and went, what are you doing? Go away. Go home already." And my other Saber teammates were like, "We haven't seen you in 3 months, dude. Fuck off. Go away." So I was like, all right, hell yeah. But like Iron Man, they give it to the people who fence the most events. And I'm in like a 6-way tie, or I was 6-way tie for first. 5 of the 6 people are foil fencers, and one of them is a foil epee fencer. And foil fencers don't like to fence other weapons. And the foil epee guy will fence foil and epee. None of them will fence saber. So I had the opportunity to do 3 yesterday. And then if I do 3 at my tournament again in May, if I do 2 national qualifiers, which I plan on doing, and then I do 2 divisional championships, I should very securely have it in the bag for Iron Man. So, ironically, Oxie is going to get the Iron Man award before he gets anything else, unfortunately. Um, it's tough. It was a big tournament. It's very hard to get a rating in an E1 environment. They only give ratings to the winners, and I don't know. I didn't do it yesterday. And then I fenced epee. Epee is just for laughs, but I am actually not bad at fencing epee. I just have been very dejected the last couple of tournaments that I'm in. I won my first 2 direct eliminations, and then in the table of 8, I fenced an unrated fencer. And I say that with heavy air quotes because he is not unrated. He was rank 7 nationally in England. But because he's on a different circuit, he didn't have a rating in the United States. So he came over to one of the universities, and this dude was fencing like a nationally rated fencer. Because my first 2 epee bouts were very slow, very dejected. I knew I was going to beat my opponent, so I just played it really casual. And then against him, he was doing like, if you ever watched the Olympics, how they kind of bob back and forth, that very intense footwork. I'm like, oh, you're for real, for real. Okay, Moose said smurfing IRL, pretty much. Yeah, he won the entire event. It was him and this other Chinese guy who, again, had a much higher rating in China, but he came over for school in the United States, I think. And those 2 took first and second overall. So I faced him in the table of 8. And yeah, Tiki says, I've only watched Princess Bride. That GIF that you just sent is probably more akin to foil than it is anything else. So the weapon, the foil weapon that you'll see in the Olympics or you'll see in Princess Bride is based off a training sword where you want to hit the parts that will kill, right? Foil is the art of the kill shot where you want to aim for the body or the neck, which is all the vital organs. So if you thrust into somebody, you pretty much kill them. That's what they're doing in Princess Bride. It looks like kind of saber-y because they're sort of hitting each other. But saber is an old cavalry weapon where you're slashing from the saddle line up. It's not jousting. It's considered dishonorable to attack the horse when you're in a cavalry combat. So the legs are not target. It's the quote unquote saddle line straight up, including the head and the hands. And then epee is the old gentleman's game. First to draw blood wins. So the whole body is target in epee. Obviously, you're not trying to kill or draw blood. Tiki said new flavor of oxytism has emerged. Dude, I've been doing this for like 8 years. We've just never had the opportunity to talk about it on the show. So yeah, I did all 3, and I'm probably going to do all 3 for the next several tournaments. I hate foil. I'm so bad at it. I don't have point control. So I can deflect your blade and I can go into attack, but my tip is not going to hit the target. For other sports, it's the equivalent of like the ball rolls around the rim and falls out. The ball hits the goalpost and deflects off. You are a yard short of a touchdown. Like that is equivalent what happens with bad point control. So yeah, that was fencing. Fencing was devastating. But yeah, I guess we're just going for the Iron Man, which I can't believe is something I'm saying on the show, but we are going for the Iron Man.
Do you think if you get the Iron Man, do you think you'll stop fencing epee?
No.
Like, because
I love fencing epee.
Because
fencing,
I thought you said you don't like fencing epee.
I don't like fencing foil.
Foil, that's the one. Sorry.
Foil's the one I don't enjoy fencing. I have kind of like a friendly rivalry with a lot of the competitive foil fencers at my club, and we're always talking shit to one another about like weapons and all that, which is always good fun because like they always have my back in a saber DE, and I'm always at theirs in a foil DE. So it's nice to have that like team camaraderie because fencing's a very like individualistic sport. But yeah, I don't enjoy fencing foil. I will fence it if I need to because sometimes it like the amount of people who sign up does matter. So I've always said, like, I'm the first one you come talk to if you need another foil body, and I will just be a warm body. Saber is the weapon that I am the most competitive in and want to get my national rating and want to get a high national rating. Epee is just for laughs. Epee is like a guilty pleasure weapon. I love fencing epee. It's so fun. It's so silly. I like to target the hand. There's a particular meaty part of your hand below your pinky that for a lot of fencers shows underneath the bell guard. And I like to stab at that part of the hand when the blade's out in front of me. And I had a couple fencers yesterday who had the audacity to show it to me several times. And I was just beep, 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 which if you know anything about fencing, you hear me bitch about point control and then go for this part of the hand. It takes me several shots. That's the problem. That's why there's different rules. I could get into it. It's going to take forever. I'm going to continue to fence until I physically cannot fence anymore. Like they cut my legs off, and even then I might just do para fencing because that is a thing. We just had the para fencing nationals or worlds or something over the weekend. In RuneScape, I've been busting out combat achievements. I'm logged out of my main. But I logged out of my main, but I have done a shitload of CAs. I got my ass kicked in Coliseum several times. I finally broke the Wave 6 barrier. I don't know if I talked about that in the anniversary episode or not. I finally broke the Wave 6 brick wall. Immediately got shat on like Wave 3 and was like, all right, we're just gonna not do that. And then I started doing some CAs, and I've gotten a lot of gauntlet CAs done. Like a lot of, because I went on the wiki and was looking stuff for that up. I got the Amoxolotl speed time. Big naturals really helped. The big naturals, the ruby spec off the rip. I didn't want to ruby reset, but it only took me 2 kills to actually get the proc. And then as soon as I did, it was like 80 claw, 60, 60, 60 dead. So it was a pretty fast kill. It's like 28 seconds or something. Then I did the Duke speed run. That one made me want to jump in a wood chipper. The Duke speed run is very irritating. I can't even say it was fun. I think I could get GM time with the gear that I have because I got the master time. I got like a 134. I just need to hit big. I got to hit like a 70 BGS and Scythe has to go nuclear.
Oh, you're doing a Scythe?
Yeah.
Is the Emberlight any better? No, it's Scythe all the way.
Yeah, I mean, there might be attack where you switch to Emberlight
in the Enrage
once it's in the Enrage, but even then, it's significantly less DPS, I would imagine. Yeah, Nuke says he just picked up a Scythe and it's dummy good. Yeah, the speed time is dumb. It's dumb of how you have to get it. You have to like 3-tick the mushrooms and then manually feed him the mushroom paste instead of making the potions. And yeah, you during trying to get Duke time was funny. Tiki was watching that and I was getting real pissed off. There were quite a few times where I ended up like slamming and resetting, or like I would greed the ice and get killed. Yeah. But we finally got it. We finally got the speed time. Got some gauntlet achievements. The tier 3 armor in Corrupted Gauntlet. Jesus Christ. How did Edginal die at 2? Where you just don't use prayer. I didn't even ancient mace spec. That bitch was a one and done. Going for corrupted armor tier 3. Holy shit. That took so many attempts. I think it took me like 6 tries to get tier 3 armor. But once you have tier 3 armor, Hunliff is a fucking joke.
Yeah.
It was like collect 8 fish. I'm like, I don't know if that will be enough. I ended up using like 4 through the fight. Like it was a fucking joke. I did a lot of the Jad combat achievements, like the multi-Jad challenge ones. I actually completed a Noxious Halberd on my main with an Araxor task. I completed my second Noxious Halberd. I was going to ask someone to borrow one, and I was like, I'll just go get one from Araxor because I had a task in storage. Finished a Noxious Halberd, got the melee one, took a couple tries because I'm an idiot, but we did get that one done. So we're looking at like 160 points to Masters, which is still not particularly close. I have a shit ton of Royal Titans CAs to do, like all of them on the main. So I am going to need to get all the Royal Titans CAs done, which aren't going to be difficult. That's like another 30 something points for me. And then we just have to not be a shitter. Like doing Coliseum is going to be a big part of not being a shitter. And then like just getting some people together to do like perfect Nilo, perfect Zarpus. Some of the chambers.
A lot of those masters are like easy 5 points if you have the right team.
Yeah, like there are some TOA ones that like I just have to commit to going with people who know how to do TOA very well. Like the one where it's like level the path up to level 4 or whatever and don't die. Like, that's not going to be. It's going to like Zebek is going to suck ass. I'm not looking forward to level 4 Zebek. Yeah, Machine Gun Croc. Not looking forward to Machine Gun Croc. So we'll get there. I'm far more confident with Masters. Less confident with this goddamn quiver because I can't even get past wave 6, but we'll get there. I also haven't sat down and done it for more than 3 attempts in a day.
So you're going in cold?
Constantly going in cold.
Like you get a little warm and then you just stop.
Pretty much. Yeah, I do like 3 attempts and I'm like, yeah, it's like I don't care that much. I think I'm going to be AFKing range maybe on the GIM this episode because... Or maybe I'll go to be my Berserker ring. One of the two. We'll have to figure it out because I don't know what the last update I gave on the GIM is. Vorkath is the hardest boss in the game. I will take no further questions. And I think that's all the notable things I've done with my week. I don't think I have done anything else that is like I should be talking a bunch for, you know? Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Well, we did play the Sailing Alpha, which is the main topic of this episode.
Yeah, yeah. So I figured that as the main title of the episode, I would leave that part out of my weekly update.
Sure,
but yeah.
Sure. So the Sailing Alpha, we did it for our Patreon stream on Friday and got in there for a couple of hours. Still haven't done the Barracuda trials myself. I don't think Oxie's had time to do it yet.
I got to
That's on the docket.
I got to level 30 and then
nice.
It was like 10:15 and I had to start like getting ready to record.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so everything I've pretty much I haven't done all of the tasks. We still have a couple of days at the time of recording. I think the day this episode comes out, Sailing Alpha is off the table. So hopefully you as the listener got to take part in it. But we got some time at RuneFest. We talked about it a little bit. They only gave you like a 30-minute block to play on the computers at RuneFest. You could request more time, but like 30 minutes was a long time in terms of like you have other shit you want to do. So sitting there playing RuneScape for hours and hours at RuneFest just wasn't something that I was interested in personally. So I got to experience sailing at RuneFest. 30 minutes. We talked to Mod Curse for a bit.
Just I feel like I got like probably 45-ish minutes of sailing because honestly Mod Curse came over and he just like kept our computers going, and then we got so entrenched in conversation he just wasn't paying attention, neither were we, and the computers just lapsed and we're like whatever, and we talked to him for another like 20 minutes.
But having the Sailing Alpha like full time and there's no time limit, I think it's still just as fun as it was at RuneFest. The only really sucky part was like the first like 30 minutes to 45 minutes, maybe an hour, was kind of doing everything that we did. So like the Pandemonium quest and like upgrading your ship and all of that. I kind of wish that when we logged in on our accounts that we used at RuneFest, it would have remembered that we had done all this already. But it's whatever. You know, we got to do it again for real this time. And my thoughts are the same. Like, I think that sailing is quintessential old school RuneScape. It doesn't feel out of place. It may feel, and this is just like my brutally honest thoughts, it may feel a bit slow in the beginning because when you're first starting out with a new skill, there's not a lot of variety. They will add variety as time goes on. But like, I think we played for a couple of hours and I got to level like 20 in like for a couple of hours. Getting to level 20, it's not very fast.
I got to like level 25 in 2 hours. Like it really wasn't, it's fine, you know?
Yeah, but I also wasn't like trimming my sails and I didn't do a bunch of salvaging. So early game, it might feel slow, but I think the fun aspect of early game sailing is going to be the exploration of the skill itself. Exploring all the new islands that we can go to, like figuring out what ship combinations you want. Like there's things within the alpha that are pretty limited, or they were. I should talk in past tense. There are things in the alpha that were limiting. So when you upgraded to like an oak hull, it didn't change the actual look of your ship. I'm assuming once sailing is fully released, they'll have different designs for each tier. So at level 15, you have an oak hull, level 30, potentially a willow hull. And then as you go up in level, like maybe an elegant redwood hull that's super tough and has a lot of HP and is super fast. These are things that we'll see as time progresses. Maybe they'll have another alpha, maybe in the summer, early summer.
Probably going to do a combat test, I would wager.
Yeah.
Because combat was not enabled for this. So if I was a betting man, they're going to do a combat test for everyone. I'm not worried about like, oh, they didn't have the graphics looking. However, that is going to come with time. I'm the least concerned about that. Just because like it's an alpha, dog, you know, like nothing. They had you use like the experimental GPU plugin. Nothing in the game like worked. Like I don't know if you noticed, like things on the wall were flickering, things on tables were flickering. Like it is very alpha graphically. So I'm pretty sure that like once we get into like actual gameplay, we're not going to have that problem.
Oh, for sure.
But I'm having a lot of fun. I think the slow start is totally fine. It is very akin to other skills in RuneScape. Nukemoose said it's like the OG experience of being a noob fishing shrimp in Lumbridge. That's kind of like what it felt like. You know, Michael said it felt very quintessentially RuneScape, and I agree. We talked about it a little bit when we streamed. It really feels like you are training a skill to be able to do other things. I don't think it feels like a quote unquote like standalone expansion to buff other skills. Like that's not the vibe I got. Like we are training sailing to upgrade our sailing. You know, like I imagine with every skill, or just like every skill in the game has, there's going to be recurrent annoying training methods that nobody is going to like. Nobody likes doing rooftops. Nobody except for Michael likes Motherload Mine. Nobody except for Michael likes regular rune crafting, right? Like they're not enjoyable. It's not even that they're not enjoyable gameplay loops, they just take a long time. But what you got to remember about a gameplay loop that might not be super satisfying is, number one, how do you get to level 30 rune crafting these days? Anybody know off the top of your head what the best way to get to level 30 rune crafting is?
Quests.
Quests. You do Enter the Abyss, and then you do Temple of the Eye, and you're at like 30 something rune crafting. What's the best way to train mining early? You do quests. What's the best way to train agility early? You do Tourist Trap and you do the quests. Like, sailing is going to be exactly the same. I am not concerned about like the early game pace of sailing. Pandemonium gave us like 10 sailing XP or something stupid like that, which I imagine is by design so you can play the XP. They even said the XP rates aren't final. I am not worried about the early game slowness. I am a little concerned about trimming the sails. Not that trimming the sails is a bad mechanic. I'm concerned that you want to talk about a tedious training method. If trimming the sails is the most consistent way to get XP, I'm going to be losing my mind trying to remax my account because it feels like you're going to be going in circles. Now, again, I have not done Barracuda Trials. Barracuda Trials might net more XP. Barracuda Trials might be the way you get 99. It may also be through port tasks. It may also be like they have other port tasks that we couldn't do, like bounty tasks, where you have to hunt various creatures. I'm kind of envisioning like a boss slayer. Like maybe, you complete a bounty task and you get a set amount of XP. If the porting system is what they're doing for this, where like you chart in your captain's logbook, right? You get XP per like region you chart. Like that's pretty cool, New Kraken encounter at sea. Honestly, Moose, I'm sure that's coming. I'm very like my TLDR, I'm very optimistic about sailing. I was very not optimistic for a while, and now I am far more secure in knowing that like this is gonna be it feels old school. It's gonna be a good addition. It doesn't feel like an expansion. It's going to be good.
Hard to agree. Yeah. And it's only going to get better. That's the thing that I kept having to remind myself when playing the alpha is like, yes, I understand. And I can fully rationalize this is an alpha. This is not final gameplay. Things are going to be tweaked. This is just, this is to get our feet wet on the boat. But it makes it so much more exciting knowing that there's going to be things that people didn't play test, the things that weren't in the alpha. There's going to be new and exciting ways to play and train sailing when it comes out. It's going to feel even more quintessential old school if this is like the baseline of what we get in an alpha test. I'm excited for ship-to-ship combat. I'm excited for so in the alpha, I tried to stand on my boat with a crossbow and stand at a shore and shoot a moss giant. And it's like, you can't do combat right now. But that type of thing seems like, wow, I could just ride around and train range from my boat. That's kind of cool. If you get bored of standing on land, you can just safe spot things from afar. You want to train range, you just kill sand crabs from the shore. That's kind of cool. You never have to worry about getting attacked by them. So I can imagine small details like that will make future updates more exciting. Maybe they'll add NPCs that are cool to train your range and magic from, but then those creatures also have a range or magic attack that you have to deal with. The possibilities are endless, really. When it comes to this new skill expansion, it feels like it fits. Feels like it fits into the game. There are so many people who are doubting it, who are like, yeah, I'm not going to play the alpha. It's stupid. I'm going to vote no. I say so many. Maybe it's just the vocal minority who's just being a little bit more annoying this time around. But it's a good skill. I think it will be good for the game.
I will say it's been insufferable on Twitter all week.
It's like that on Reddit too. So, there will be haters, I guess, and those people can just like not train sailing, but you're missing out on a good portion of the game at that point. They'll probably come around. I think that once the skill is released, people will come around and see it's good for the game. It's good for a lot of expansion. I keep saying expansion. That is the overarching theme, I think, for me in relation to sailing is just expansion. Not only are we expanding the skills, but you're expanding the world. They can add so much more to the map that was previously might not have made sense just to throw a random island out in the sea or another continent. Like imagine if we had another continent expansion similar to what Zaya and Varlamore brought us. That's just more that's just more content on another continent, So sailing's good. I would say for me it's like a 8 out of 10 at this point.
What would make it a 10 out of 10?
10 out of 10 would be just like quality of life things that we maybe don't know about. I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because it's not finished. I think. I don't know. Maybe I could give it a 10 out of 10. Like for alpha, it's 10 out of 10. But I think overall, not knowing the full extent of what sailing has, 8 out of 10, just because like you're right, trimming the sails is kind of tedious. There was a lot of XP that I was missing out on because I was trying to navigate or I was trying to open my map to like see where I was going. Because I think Tiki said it a little bit in the recording booth, but he said like having to relearn the map is going to be interesting. And I feel that because I'm like, I'm in Port Sarim and I need to go to Musa Point. Where the freak is Musa Point? I know where Musa Point is, but in relation to Port Sarim, charting it in the water, it doesn't click in my brain sometimes. So it really will be like learning a different language in a sense. You know how to get to these places because teleports are so prevalent and using charter ships is a no-brainer. But when you have to navigate there by yourself, like could you tell me off the top of your head how to get from Catherby to like Fossil Island? Probably.
I was to say, that's a really shitty trip. You have to go down south through the desert. You pretty much have to go past Crandor, Karamja, straight down through underneath the desert, up past Mauritania, and then you'd get to Fossil Island. Because I don't think you could feasibly navigate through any other waterway. Even if you tried to cut through the middle of Kandarin, you have a waterfall to get there. So you literally would just ride the coast the whole way. But like that seems fun to me. Like, don't get me wrong, having to like not knowing where the hell I'm going in a game I've played, it was a very dichotomous experience. Because on the one hand, I would ride by something and be like, oh, that's like the Dark Wizard Tower by the Makeover Mage in Falador. I know where that is. That's cool. On the other hand, I would try to get from Port Sarim to Pandemonium and go the wrong way every single time. Like there was one time I tried to I had to get to Port Sarim and ended up in Catherby. I'm like, why did I go this way? Or like I took the wrong side of Mudskipper Point and ended up in Remington. I'm like, I have 8,000 hours in RuneScape. I know where Port Sarim is. But it's a weird like back and forth of how it kind of changes. Overall, I thought it to be a lot of fun. The exploring is hands down the highlight. Far and away, the exploration is the best. I had so much fun just going around. And at the alpha, I had the same thing. Like I didn't even want to bother participating in any of the other activities. I had a great time with it. I did more exploring today. I reached all of the little islands. And hear me out, right? I don't know what you kids are cooking up, but somebody who's smarter than me am I getting bitched at because I called it Port Sarim and not Port Sarim? Shut up. But anyways, the recording booth chat is getting on me for my pronunciations. Sorry, guys. Staves or staves? What are you talking about?
Staves.
Staves? What?
Staffs or staves?
Who calls them?
We're getting on a tangent.
I'm not getting. I'm not entertaining the recording booths complaining right now. Love you guys, but Had a buddy who pronounced Guthix as Guthix. Jesus
Focus,
Christ.
Oxie, focus.
I am focused, Oxie. Focus. Jesus
Focus,
Christ.
Oxie, focus.
I am focused, motherfucker. I'm entertaining the people. God.
You're entertaining the recording.
You keep it up. I'm going to say the word and cause you and apparently 80 other XP wasters to have a heart attack. But no, like I was saying, exploration feels great. It feels fun. It feels new. It's exactly what we talked about with Varlamore Part 1, where it feels fun to not know where the hell anything is and get to explore the game in a way that we've not really explored before. That piece is interesting. I explored all the little islands. Like I said, I do have a little theory that is there is a chest on Dognose Island that is locked that you cannot access, but you can interact with it. At the last light, there is a broken lighthouse because if you examine the light fixture, it says it looks to be broken. On the floor right below that, there is a bucket of tar. You can get tar for free. What do we know about game design? Everything is intentional, right?
Yeah.
Everything is intentional. There's not just like accidental shit that's carried over in spaghetti code. Like all sailing is brand new, right? I contend there is some sort of puzzle with the 4 islands they have us go to that give you a key to open something on the Dognose Island. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. It's probably going to be like a smelly sock or something like the Varlamore red tokens. But somebody who's smarter than me by the time this episode comes out, hopefully you figured it out. Tiki's eyes just perked up. He said, a puzzle? Tiki, there might be a puzzle in the sailing alpha. There might be a puzzle because there is an interactable chest. And again, maybe it's just nothing. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I don't think you put a chest that you interact with and it pops up saying the chest is securely locked for nothing. I think Miss Chi said it's a slide puzzle just for Oxie. I ain't doing that shit, Chi. Gotta level with you. So maybe there's something in the alpha to look for. By the time this episode comes out, maybe somebody has already found it. In the alpha to look for.
Oh.
It might be in the real game as it is. There are some really cool islands. Did you get to explore any of the smaller islands at all?
So you have to have a certain sailing level to port at all of these places. And like I said, I only got to level 20. So I didn't actually
know.
Yeah, you have to. And some of the islands you need an actual sailing level, and you may not have noticed it because like you're level 30 already. But
I wasn't level 30 when I went to all the islands.
Oh, really? Well,
I didn't get to level 30.
Islands and it says you don't have the experience to port here or something, and it said I needed level 20.
Well, then keep training and get out there because I think there's some. You're gonna find there's some cool stuff. There is an island called Charred Island, which I'm very interested in. For 2 reasons. Number 1, it looks like it could be a boss location from what people have said. In the back corner of Charred Island, there is a little like pile of remains of what looks like a harpy almost. So that could be fun. In the collection log, there was a new boss in the alpha called the 3-headed griffin. But also what's cool about Charred Island, it's a cannonable multi-combat zone with red and black dragons and fire giants. And Necreals and Dust Devils too. So like
sick.
Lesser demons, black demons, like there's a lot of stuff in there in a multi-combat cannonable zone that like Slayer XP could be kind of cracked. Dude, right there. Fire giants may be back on the menu, you know?
What do you think about the idea of you have your cargo hold in your boat, right? What do you think of the idea of if you load that baby up with supplies, so say you put like a crate of food or a crate of potions, and you put that in your cargo hold, and you go out to these islands and say you're doing your cannon task or whatever, you're just training, instead of taking your boat all the way back to the nearest port with a bank, you could just access your crate of food. And that sustains you to not have to go 10 years back up to shore to bank just to come back. That would be so cool.
What I also found was interesting about Charred Island, it's the only unnamed island in the alpha that has a bank chest on it.
Oh, it has a bank already?
Mm-hmm. It has a bank chest on it. So there's some potential.
Is it the bank crab?
Not the bank crab. The bank crab on Pandemonium is a good addition,
So
I will say.
cute.
But yeah, there's just some cool stuff in the alpha that I was checking out, and was feeling pretty interested in. There's cool stuff to see. The exploration is cool. There might be a puzzle. Somebody smarter than me can hopefully solve it. A lot of the places are fully developed. Like Conch Island looks structurally pretty sound. There are no turtle people on there yet, but it looks like there's some neat things on there for Conch Island.
Conch Island is huge.
It is
Unfortunately, we
fairly
can't
large,
access it. I don't think we can access it for the alpha yet.
Not for the alpha, no, but it's pretty cool. Otis asked a question earlier in the recording booth chat. He said, based on how it looks, do you think it's going to be ready this year?
I think so. They've got the foundation. Like navigation set. They said that navigation was the hardest part and they figured that out and it feels good. It's fine. They've got a lot of the scenery in place. So literally now it's going to be content development, if I had to guess. So it's going to be like fleshing out all of the ship upgrades, fleshing out all of the things you can do with your ship.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be making quests. It's going to be developing content for the islands that we have. So like the foundation of it is there. It just needs to be refined a bit. And I think that from now, between now and fall, we could see sailing released.
I agree under the stipulation that the community is really going to need to check our expectations of what is going to come out with sailing. Mm-hmm. Not in the sense that it's going to be like a bunch of shitty content off the rip, but as we've kind of said, it's going to be significantly better for them to introduce a few high quality pieces and then flesh it out from there, and instead of trying to horizontally expand it in like a mile long puddle that's an inch deep, like you don't necessarily want that. Tiki says like Varlamore part 1, 2, 3. I would be content with that, where if you really break it down, what did we get to do with Varlamore part 1? We had a new thieving method, we had the Colosseum, we had a new hunter method, we had perilous moons. There are some other small niche things to do. There's a new way to travel. There's a new teleport. But like grand scheme of things, it's not terribly different than what we already had in the game. By the time Varlamore is done, there is going to be a shitload to do. It's going to justify a whole region in a league. I think it's going to be quite a bit. Like it's going to be a good, very fulfilled region in the game, like a full region kind of should be. So I think that piece will be cool. Multi-part would be acceptable. Yeah, I think multi-part is going to have to be the way. If I was a betting man, they are going to have Barracuda trials. Pretty much everything in the alpha, if I was a betting man, is going to come out on release, which mainly for me tells me that like sailing bossing that may not be a thing. Like there may not be ship to ship combat on release.
That would be a huge L.
On release.
But no, on release, if it's not on release, it's an L. I know you're not saying like no ship to ship combat in general, but that's a huge part that they're missing. I think within the next 6 months, that is definitely, because we even said it before, it's like they could have another alpha open for just ship to ship combat. Like that seems very viable.
PvP ship to ship could be delayed. I would be fine with that. I think we are not going to get overly complex bosses, because I'm with you. Like, I think it's an L if there's not ship combat. Like, surely you have to release combat. I more mean ship to ship fighting each other, fighting other players, trying to navigate around in the wilderness. I think that is what's going to be not there on release. I would also wager to think that any combat we do get is just so simple. Like almost like painfully basic in how simple it is. Just for the reason that like you don't want to release a boss that's too broken, overdo it, underdo it. Like everything with sailing has to feel good in the first release. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
If it doesn't feel good, the community is going to throw a fit. The community's already throwing a fit. And in the most annoying way possible. Like I said, it has been the most insufferable week on Twitter.
But do you think that roping in all of these naysayers is fair to say that it's the community is throwing a fit, or it's the vocal minority of the community?
I don't know if it's the vocal. I mean, you say the vocal minority
think the community
because they
don't.
Listen, of all of the updates that have come to this game, Sailing has received the most heat. You say the vocal minority because you don't agree with them, but I think a legitimate portion of the community is not happy that Sailing is coming to the game. Is it a 50-50 split? Probably not, right? It's probably not 50-50. There are probably more people like us than there are people who abhor the idea of Sailing. I'm sure that a majority of players want it. I think the majority could be like 60-40.
But it passed the poll, so at least 75% or 70%.
It passed the new skill passed a poll. Sailing only beat out Shamanism by like 1%.
They repolled Sailing, didn't they?
No, they did not. I'm fairly certain they polled, do you want a new skill? It passed. And then they said, what skill do you want? A couple months later, and Sailing won out. If I remember correctly, that has been the source of contention for many players, is that Sailing and Shamanism should have had a 1v1, and the taming shouldn't have taken votes away from either one. Thank God it did, because Shamanism probably would have been awful. Though realistically, Shamanism could come to the game in the future anyways. Some people who are anti-Sailing, like Tiki said, didn't want a new skill to begin with. You know, I will say, trying to put my max cape on in the Sailing alpha and being told you need 99 in all skills, that hit me like a truck. I need to go get another Infernal cape like that. Apparently, I also need to make another goddamn Vorkath backpack, because I don't have any Vorkath backpack. I didn't have any, I went down into that charred island area, and I had to take like an accumulator because I didn't have anything else.
Do you have your yellow max cape?
I have
Take the kit off of that?
It's still a max cape.
No, I'm saying, can you take the kit off of the max cape and get it back and use it on a backpack?
Or
will you have to get another?
Maybe I might just have to get another kit. Honestly, who cares? Presumably by that point I have a quiver, so irrelevant.
True.
But we'll see. Maybe in 8 months when Sailing comes out and I still don't have a quiver, someone can use that soundbite. We'll see.
I did message you and I said, surely you don't put the quiver on the max cape. And you said, yeah, I'm just going to rip it.
Oh, yeah. I don't give a shit. What am I, poor? What am I, poor? I'm not going to do that.
You're going to put your blessed quiver on a max cape when you could just wear the blessed quiver until you remax?
Got 4 words. 4 words. What am I? Poor?
Oh my gosh.
You think I'm not just gonna bless 2 quivers? What?
You are poor.
What? Where are you getting that notion from?
I mean, you have 3 mega rares, but like, what's the liquid cash looking like? You said you just bought your lance back.
I'm not logged into my main. I would guess maybe 10 mil, maybe right now.
Poor.
Bold words from an Iron Man. Bold words from an Iron Man.
Dude, I have like 150 mil on my main. Liquid cash.
Wow.
Wow, I can buy so many free-to-play items right now.
Wow. I'm just saying.
Wow.
When the time comes, boy's not poor. Gonna have to sell the
McDragon boots?
No.
Oh, I've never heard him call it that, but that's amazing.
I'm keeping those things forever. The Machidons, I swear to God, I will have Blood Torva and Machidons just because I think it's funny at this point. That's where I'm at. I'm not getting rid of the kitted boots. I love them things.
Otis asked, do you think they'll give you a weaker max cape for people who aren't 99 Sailing? And then Tiki says, no, it defeats the purpose. I feel like maybe a grace period. I don't think there's going to be any grace period. And I don't think they're going to give you any sort of weaker max cape.
No,
because it defeats the purpose. Just max cape, you're not maxed.
You don't have 99 in all skills, brother. Sorry, you can't wear the max cape. And as someone with a max cape, I feel qualified to say that. You know?
This puts me in a really awkward spot because I'm maxed on my main, but I don't really want to play my main. And I'm definitely not going to max by the time sailing comes out on the GIM. So I'm still very torn at this point, and the decision may come easier as time goes on, but I don't know. Like my plan was always to drop the GIM and remax on the main again, but
You're not going to
don't
do that.
care right now.
Unless you get really burnt on the GIM, you're not going to do that.
But I could always I could always do like an AFK break and do sailing on the main, and then like do AFK stuff on the iron, because I have a lot of AFK in my future. I have to do a shit ton of fishing levels. I'm only 77 fishing, and Diary Cape is 91 if I want to boost it. So that's a lot of fishing. There's a lot of AFK in my future. So I still don't know. It's a decision for future Michael. And Tiki said, I can't wait for the start to jokes about Michael not being maxed. Listen, I will max again. But I like my conundrum is that I don't know if I want to experience sailing for the first time on the GIM or if I want to do it on the main for the first time and like go 1 to 99 on the main and then not have that nostalgic experience on my GIM. I'm torn. I'm very, very torn because I like playing on my main. I have a lot of fond memories of that account. I put a lot of time into that account, but by the time I'm to the point where I'm like nearing max on my GIM, will I have more hours on my GIM than I had on my main? Because I'm already at this point 124 days, almost 125 days played on my GIM. And I think I'm at like 270, 280 on the main, which a lot of that was AFK time, just like standing around doing nothing. I don't know. Very torn. But I think you're right. I think I will just not play on the main. If I had to be completely honest with myself and knowing me.
You're not touching that account again. That account is a split account at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The hope of main Michael returning is long dead. But alas. Otis, and this just is fun. What's a sailing cape perk gonna be?
Ooh.
I can tell you what I think a good sailing cape perk is gonna be.
Yeah, what's a good sailing cape perk?
It's way too cracked for a skill cape. Though not really, because we have one that works almost identical to it. A free teleport to any fucking port in the game.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
You can go any port in the game is your teleport. And that we already have it with the construction cape, so it's not like we have a precedent for it already. It's not like it's too broken. Teleport to any port in the game. Tiki says, I don't know if we know enough about the skill. What I experienced in the alpha for the couple hours I've played it, give me a teleport to every port in the game. Because you could just get your shit back for a little bit of GP. And I imagine by the time you get to be a high level and you complete all the sailing related quests, you should have some sort of way to recover it for free or for like a like negligible amount of money, you know, like especially by the time you're in the end game, if it's 1,000 GP to recover your thing, negligible, especially if they let you take it from the bank, negligible.
You think we'll have a teleport to most ports now? Like a home teleport, but like port teleports they'll add to the spell books?
I don't know if we'll have a port teleport in a spell book. I think there's probably gotta be some way to like get you to a port quicker to train sailing, but I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like as far as like getting to the ports.
I don't know if this is how it's going to be in the actual release, but in the alpha, if you want to get back to the closest port that you're at quickly, you can just like escape from your boat and there's no penalty. And then your boat is at the port. So I think that's one thing that they probably will need to look at as far as like really game breaking mechanics, because if you're doing a port task and you're in Pandemonium and say you're like halfway to Port Sarum, you can just escape your boat and then you're basically teleported to Port Sarum. You just do the same thing.
Thing is, when you escape, you lose everything on your boat.
Oh, really?
Like escaping is not a free teleport with everything. When you escape, you lose everything.
You lose your cargo?
Yep, you lose your cargo, you lose all your
Ugh.
salvage. Everything that's in your ship is gone. We got so many questions in here. What if the boat could be autopiloted? I imagine the boat can be autopiloted when we get a crew. Is there a boat death fee? There is a boat recovery fee, but they're all being waived in the sailing alpha. A sailing pet. I don't know if there's going to be a sailing pet from trimming the sails, though it could be. It could be a little parrot.
That would be so cool.
It could be a little parrot, because if you think about it, or like a seabird or something, because we know how much Michael loves bird pets. If you do a little seabird and like while you're trimming the sails, you get the pet, it's like, hey, the bird almost flew into your sails. Like you feel something funny sneaking into the deck of your ship, or like it's I don't know what it could be.
Personally, I don't think that sailing, I don't think it makes sense to have a pet for sailing right now. Maybe certain training methods will offer the ability for like hunter as a whole. Just doing random hunter tasks doesn't like give you a pet, but there are specific hunter tasks that do. So I don't think that just the act of sailing will give you a pet, but maybe like there are barracuda trials will offer a pet, or there's going to be something for salvaging, like an AFK skilling pet.
I feel like hunter is the niche example, because I think every other skilling pet in the game, Rocky, rock golem, beaver, heron, squirrel, can just be done doing whatever. I got my rock golem on a shooting star. Granted, it's all the same activity, so I think you may have a point in like sailing offers different activities. So it could be a hunter style thing where like perhaps there is a salvaging pet where you get like a lobster or a crab as a pet while salvaging. Like that seems like it's a feasible thing, you know?
Well, sailing to me feels the most akin to a hunter style method of training, where it's not just like mining. As an example, you take a pickaxe, you hit a rock. That's pretty quintessential mining. Sailing, there's so many different things you can do. Like it feels the most similar to hunter in a sort of like support skill, gathering skill type of hybrid. Because what would you call sailing? A production, support,
It's support.
gathering?
No,
It is
sailing
very much a support skill.
Sailing is a support skill through and through.
I would say support with a little bit of like gathering because of the salvaging and like,
but
there probably will be other things that are akin to gathering.
That's like saying Slayer is a combat skill. Like it's a support skill. I think sailing falls under the support skill category myself. Gotta support the booty. Yarg. Because I mean, like if you think about it, it's like the odd job skill, you know, where like you do a little bit of everything. And that is in nature a support skill. You do a little bit of everything that doesn't always serve the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish, you know? So
Sure.
I think support skill is the play, but who's to say?
Is there anything else about the alpha you wanted to touch on?
I have yet to try Barracuda trials, and I'm excited to try those out because at RuneFest, Olkey said they were a great time. I think overall, the sailing out, like it felt good at RuneFest. It feels even better to actually have time with it. Like I am probably going to try Barracuda trials on the main because I'm not doing it on the iron. I'm not getting level 30 again, but I'm going to be doing that again and just giving Barracuda trials a try. That exploration piece of sailing really has me hooked. No pun intended. Like I think it's going to be good. I'm very optimistic about the new skill. I am also fairly confident that on release, it is not going to be as exciting. I think we're going to be lacking a lot of content that people think we should have. And I think that is okay. I don't think when I say lacking, I don't mean like it's going to be a broken, unfinished mess of shit. I think like I said, we got to check our expectations with what's going to be coming out because we may not get everything that we want off the rip. Skills take time to develop when we're developing them correctly.
If it's anything like the Varlamore release, I think that we'll have enough content to keep us satiated until the next wave and then the next wave, and then the next wave, no pun intended. 2026 is going to be the year of sailing. The category updates will be sailing for 2026. Probably won't see much else other than that, which is fine with me because it's going to bring in like subcategories, like a new raid in 2026. Hell yeah. I'm very excited for that. But I imagine like the Winter Summit 2025 into 2026, it's going to be a lot of talking about sailing.
Oh, I'm sure. Nico says, do we reckon the 2026 raid is going to be sailing based? I don't know if it's going to be sailing based because I don't know if sailing combat will be fleshed out enough for a raid. I think you will need a sailing requirement to get there. I would be shocked if they release a brand new raid on the cusp of a brand new skill and say, you don't need a sail. Like, oh yeah, it's just like in the middle of Kandarin. You don't need a sailing requirement to get there. I would be very surprised if that was the case. I think there's a lot of potential for a pirate-themed raid. There's a lot of potential for my Fossil Island Archipelago dinosaur-themed raid idea that I have brought up before. I think sailing, it's gonna have to be there. Navigation between bosses and regular combat between, yeah, that seems like it could make the most sense. I feel like disembarking your boat might be awkward, though I suppose transitioning from room to room in TOB or TOA is about the same thing, you know? So I just have to see how it goes.
It's very interesting to think about that because technically only one person would need to have their boat because you can bring other people on your boat.
That is true, yeah. That could be.
I got to hang out with Francine on my boat during pretty much the entire Patreon stream, and it was really fun. If you go to TNL Discord and you look in the clan pictures, she took a cool picture of like her sitting down in my boat and like me like steering it. Really, really cool.
Hell yeah.
I think as far as like sailing requirements, I could get behind them having a sailing quest or a quest related to the raid that has a sailing element.
Yeah.
And then maybe at
beneath
that point,
cursed sands on the water.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's my thought process there. You don't need you don't need to have a night at the theater done to do TOB, but it's a quest related to TOB. You can do TOB in the middle of the quest. So they've kind of set that precedent of cool quest introduces a cool raid. That's definitely on the table for sailing when it comes to maybe you do a quest that involves a high sailing level like 50 or 60, and then you need a certain boat to traverse the waters to get to the raid. And then maybe once you get there, you can unlock a teleport and you no longer need to have that long 10-minute stretch of taking your boat all the way down just to do a raid. Like maybe you discover a fairy ring or you talk to somebody there who can charter your ship back and forth. Again, I think we're going to be saying it, at least I will, saying this a lot. The possibilities are endless. There is so much unknown that is surrounding the sailing skill that it like you could like conceptualize anything and it could be a possibility. So it's just like this is perfect content for a podcast because like we can just yap.
Exactly. Yeah. Moose brings up a great point. You need to do a quest that requires a sailing level. You calm a big storm, and that functions as the bank or NPC boat, like the lobby in TOA or TOB. Because if you think about it, the lobbies for TOA and TOB are both introduced through quests. You go to Versenhaza for the first time during A Taste of Hope, and you go to TOA. You don't go to the lobby, but you unlock the lobby after Beneath Cursed Sands. So I think Nico and I are picturing the same thing: a pirate ship in a cove, where that's like the lobby of the raid.
Oh, neat!
Where that's you like you finish the quest there or something like that, and they're like, "Yar, there be more dangers out at sea. If you're willing to brave them, come speak to me when you're ready." And then you've got the board on the ship or whatever where you sign up to do raids with people, and then maybe like party leader, that's the boat that you take. Almost like a South Freeze and Tob, where like you are kind of in charge of the raid, quote unquote, where you set the party. It's your boat that ends up being taken out. I think that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be so cool.
It's got a lot of neat potential.
Another way that they could get around like needing to sail to the island every time is maybe going off of that same idea that you helped defeat a monster that calmed down the storm. Now, once you've done that, it opens up lanes for other boats to then like you can just charter back and forth. So maybe you teleport to Port Sarum and this new NPC says, hey, I'm going to take you off to such and such island now that you calmed the storm, and I'll do it for free because you're a cool guy.
There's a inconvenient way to get there, which is sail there, aka walk to Chambers. There is a medium convenience way to get there where you charter a ship from the opened up lanes, aka mountain guide to Chambers. And then there is the most convenient way to get there, which is use the inevitable location-based teleport, like Versenhaza Amulet or Zarek's Amulet or something. Zarek's Talisman, whatever it's called.
Otis asks, is ship in a bottle still being talked about, or did that die? I think ship in a bottle, like if you got a high enough magic level to cast like a cool spell that like shrinks your ship and it could just fit in your inventory.
It's in the alpha right now.
Oh, is it?
There's an option to talk to the portmaster and be like, hey, can I get a ship in a bottle? I don't know if it's implemented, but there is an option to do it.
Neat.
And then also, it's a game with magic in it. We could do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just make shit up. Yeah. Sailing is going to be good. Sailing is going to be an interesting time. I'm very excited to see more of it. And I would imagine, like Michael said, the summer is probably going to have another alpha or beta, hopefully a combat related one. That would be good. What would a max level ship alch for? We're going to let you guys sit on that one while we go to break. Okay?
Absolutely. I have no idea. But yeah, hang out with us after the commercial. We're going to do some more community-based content, but we'll see you after this.
Hi, my name is Dominic Onion. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about my newest endeavor, the Nightmare Zone. It's an opportunity for adventurers like yourself to come down and relive some of your favorite bosses, but in an unconventional way. We've got nothing but great reports from our adventurers who have done it. Here comes one right now. Hey, what's your favorite quest boss?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I held the space bar and clicked the boss. I couldn't even tell you. I've done like maybe 10 quests in my entire life.
Mine's Agrith Banana. He's so funny. He looks like a banana.
Okay.
Hey, you want to come relive some of those quest boss fights?
Not really. I'm just here to buy some blood.
Perfect. I'll give you a tour. Talk to me, and I'll set you up with a rumble. You can fight all the bosses at one time. Kill the bosses, you get points. You can buy things to make your next rumble easier. You can also buy herb boxes and scrolls from my personal collection of paper. Give me enough points, and I'll use some of my onion magic, and I'll imbue some of your items for you.
You'll just like do this for free?
Of course not, adventurer. Man's gotta eat. It'll cost you a couple thousand GP per rumble. I don't think it's much to ask. So what do you think? Should I get you set up with a rumble?
Yeah, no. I think I'm just gonna go buy.
Perfect. Come talk to me. You can choose what bosses you want to fight. See what I mean? Flawless reviews from adventurers. The people you know won't let me inside, so I set up shop right outside the front gate. Come pay me a visit. Hey!
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that commercial break because I know that I sure did. Now it is time to take some time and dedicate this to our patrons. Every episode, we have a short segment that goes over all the patrons that we shout out, and we thank a lot of them. And this episode is no different. If you're part of the Wise Old Man tier, you'll get a shout out the first episode that we record that we do a Patreon shout out that you subscribed. So big shout out and thank you to Lorelei, Dies Quite Often, and Rejected Wish for all subscribing to the Wise Old Man tier this week or last week. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys so much. And on the screen now is all of our current Wise Old Man patrons. You guys are the bee's knees. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you so very much. couldn't do this without you guys. The Wise Old Man tier is probably one of my favorites because not only is the Wise Old Man my favorite NPC, or one of them at least, but it's the tier that you get access to the recording booth. And you've heard us talk about the recording booth so often that it's an integral part of the show. We mentioned it a lot in this episode. So all the little asides and questions and things that we got were people chatting with us in the recording booth. There's 14 of them right now. And they're not all like Wise Old Man patrons. There's some KBD patrons, JAD tier patrons, all of them. They're all here, all hanging out. So that is the Wise Old Man tier. Thank you. Thank you so much. Moving on over now to our KBD patrons. They're going to get a shout out by name each and every episode. Starting out at the top, big shout out and thank you to Six, Dixon, Cider, Brooks 70, Oxie's dad, my dad, all of our dads. Hi, Dad. Cloud Kicker, Dickie Bird, Elite Oreo Dunker, Jax GIM, JX Riot, Kyrandia, Little Drakey, our third favorite Patreon supporter, Ralph. I think Miss Chi technically is still a KBD patron, so Miss Chi, Run Metal 15, Rylithian, Sparky Life, The Big G Jordy, and Warbitroning. Those are all of our KBD patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for subscribing at the KBD tier. We appreciate you so very much. Moving on now to our last tier that we read, and that is the JAD tier. Starting at the top and giving a big shout out and a big thank you, muchos to Captain Crash is Drunk 2, Mithril Fork, Petite River, Rack Roll, the S tier Deviled Egg, and Woloznik. Those are our JAD tier folks. And I'm reminding myself now, editing Michael, you need to work on a design for a new shirt. So we have some JAD tier folks that have been in the tier long enough to receive a second shirt. So potentially we'll see those folks receiving those shirts very soon. And that is a design that I need to crank out very soon, or they might not get them. So thank you to all of our JAD tier folks. If you want to join the Patreon at any tier we have, you can head on over to patreon.com/Xpwaste and explore all of the different tiers that we have. They range from $1 all the way to $50. If you want to subscribe at the $5 tier, that would be our Party Pete. That's going to get you access to our backlog of extra episodes, including some of our Patreon streams, as well as you'll have access to join us for any future Patreon streams. We do those on the third Friday of every month, and lately it's been RuneScape related, but in the past it also has been non-RuneScape related. So it's just an extra time that we get to hang out with the community, and it gives you guys a little bit extra content. If you didn't catch the stream live, you can go back and rewatch it. And it's all archived on YouTube. So those are there for you. That's our Patreon. Again, patreon.com/Xpwaste if you want to join. Moving on now to the community question from 2 weeks ago on the episode, The Return After Runefest, formerly known as We're Excited About RS3. We asked you guys a simple question. If you could choose one boss or NPC to do the new Duo Yama boss with, who would it be and why? So I would say that this is probably the most under-answered community question that we've ever had. I was reading through on all the different platforms that we have to answer the question, and there's literally one. I may not have found the other ones or whatever, but literally I think we have one response, and that's from Fizzman15. He says, I'd pick Neve to help in the fight. She's super strong and such a good Slayer Master. Surely there's no way a boss could kill her. Wink, wink. That's the community question, folks. If you answered and I didn't read it, I do apologize. But a lot of the comments were great. They were saying hey, happy 4 years. They were excited about all the things we did at RuneFest. So it's not like you guys didn't comment, because there was a ton, and I've read every one and I appreciate them. But we just didn't have a lot of community question responses. So thank you so much to Fizzman15 for answering 2 weeks ago the community question. If you want to answer this week's question, would be, if you could have a houseboat party, what NPCs would you invite? You can answer that question in the comment section on Spotify or under the pinned comment of this YouTube video. I'm going to toss it on over now to Oxie for the achievement of the week.
Aye, yes, it is time for achievement of the week. It's been a busy 2 weeks because we are 2 weeks without an achievement. Sorry, I have a power surge going right now in Nightmare Zone on my GIM, so I keep getting distracted having to click over and do that. But you know what? It's still time to achieve a lot of things. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to kick it off with the skilling category this week. Show our skillers a little bit of love. We have quite a few 99s to get through. Kicking us off, we have Vacant Void, who achieved 99 range and 99 mage. B Daddy Casper achieved 99 smithing and 99 construction. Rock Arm Man achieved 99 range. Chaos Como achieved 99 rune crafting and 99 fletching. I Poop Liquids achieved 99 hunter. Schnoodly achieved 99 prayer. Worried Couch achieved 99 slayer. Dillygaff achieved 99 firemaking, mining, thieving, woodcutting, and crafting all on the same day in like the same couple of minutes. My boy Soggy Waffles achieved 99 Slayer. Alpha Hotel Quebec achieved 99 Cooking. Corpse Duster achieved 99 Farming. Bass Mike Jr. achieved 99 Mage. Hovdis achieved 99 Slayer. Saga 7 BTW, a name we have not seen in a long time. We ain't seen Saga 7 for a while. But he got 99 Mining. Real Crazy achieved 99 Range. Flying High achieved 99 defense at Nightmare Zone, where I currently am right now, trying to go and view my Berserker ring. I don't even want to hear it. Pseudo Wolf achieved 99 crafting. Zerniak achieved 99 cooking while we were recording. And while we were recording, my boy Bowmanator achieved 99 mining. So GZ to all of our skillers. In addition, we have a couple with 2200 total level. Gay Raccoon and Ja Dead, aka Ja 2200, both achieved 2200 total level in these past couple of weeks. So we've got Ja 2200 and the return of the Raccoon maxing arc. Could be fun. Finally, capping off our skilling achievements, Steins Gate achieved 200 million hit points XP. You don't see 200 mils very often around here. It's always cool to see one. So RIP, never getting an HP drop again, but hell yeah, man. 200 mils, pretty cool. Moving on over to the miscellaneous category this week, we have 3 new quest capes with GIM Terra Knowles, UU, and Steno94. So congratulations on your quest capes. Vacant Void achieved his Diary cape. Main Sequence achieved the Explorer emote, which normally is not something we shout out, but 600 beginner clues is disgusting and worthy of being noted. So congratulations to you, Main Sequence, Kyle. Good lord. And then finally, Jamungo achieved 99 girlfriend and got engaged this past couple of weeks. So congratulations to you guys. Finally, moving on over to the combat achievements section, or the combat portion rather. We have 2 brand new fire capes. Old Nikia achieved his first fire cape on his UIM, which he said hit different. And then Joe Boo Man achieved his first ever fire cape. So congratulations to you guys. We have quite a few other firsts as well. Both Fat Man and JRP killed Gauntlet for the first time. Switch Shorty killed Zulra for the first time. Thick Iron Rudy, a name I absolutely love, killed the Corrupted Gauntlet for the first time. And Blueberry killed Fazani's Nightmare for the first time. On to the combat achievements portion of the combat section of Achievement of the Week. Chaos Cleric achieved the hard combat achievements on his GIM, and Fish achieved the master combat achievements. So I envy you, but congratulations nonetheless. Moving on, we do have some kits to talk about. Dinosaur is now free of TOA and never has to go back because he earned his Fang kit. Congratulations. I'm going to envy all of these achievements coming up here. As far as kits are concerned, 2 of our very high-level Iron Men friends both achieved Blood Torva. Nima, first name Nima, last name Aster 12. Neemaster 12 achieved Blorva, as did Prof Slayer. So congratulations, fellas. I don't want to know how many orbs that took, and I don't want to know how long it took to get those orbs. But I imagine you both have a plethora of Virtus and Soul Reaper pieces to go along with it. Congratulations. You guys are going to look fly as hell in your fancy Blood Torva. An achievement I also don't have, the Taco Daddy got his quiver. only took 5 souls. I don't remember how many attempts exactly, but 5 souls is pretty respectable. So congratulations to you, Taco Daddy. Only 1 cape left to get. At least I think. I don't know if Taco Daddy has an Infernal Cape yet. I haven't actually checked. But speaking of Infernal Capes, we do have 2 of them this week. Burn Up and Bat Fastard both achieved their Infernal Capes. I want to say it only took Burn Up like 40 attempts at the Inferno, which I don't know if is normal, but it's a third of the amount of attempts it took me. So I think that's pretty cool. Both of you guys can play the game, especially Bat Fastard. You're already maxed, dog. You can play the hell out of this game now. You can do whatever you want. There is no more pressure. I've said it once. I'll say it again. You can't do it better than getting your Infernal Cape. But yeah, that about does it. That wraps up Achievement of the Week. Congratulations to everyone who accomplished something in this week's Achievement of the Week. And to everyone who just did anything awesome. We have a lot of people posting about their 98s in chat this past couple of weeks, which tells me that you guys are getting close to 99s and you guys are excited for it, which we're excited for. And if you do something awesome and you want to tell us about it, head over to discord.gg/OSRSTNL. Post about any achievement that you have. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Y'all, we accept literally any achievement. We think literally any achievement is cool. So please, by all means, post about them. We're going to think it's cool, right? People pretty much positively react to anything that gets put in levels and achievements. And as always, we do have to check. The Sunday raid team is not in effect, but it is relatively early. Normally at this point in the episode, we are not even started because we're recording early today. It's 12:30 Eastern time at this point. Normally we don't even start till 1 p.m. Eastern time. So you can always count that the Sunday Raiders, they're going to be there. They always will. Because we have objectively the best RuneScape Discord in the whole world. With that said, normally I would say, Michael, do you have a fun question for us? But apparently that's a point of contention as per last week's episode. So I have a fun question for you guys that Michael DM'd me because it came off of our Patreon thing for last week. This is a question that is coming in from, let me find his name because let me see, it's in the patrons chat. This is coming in from Sabaza. This is one of the audio questions that we didn't quite get to. So we are going to play that for you guys right now, and then Michael and I are going to answer the question.
If the enchanting skill extended to armor and weapons like it does for jewelry, what effects would you have each gem provide?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah. Okay. So there's so many different like enchantments for jewelry, but one thing I just thought of is like the bolts, and it doesn't have to do with the enchanting skill. Like your enchanting bolts, it's different than jewelry, but it'd be really cool if they kind of mixed the two, where it gives you sort of buffs, but then some of them make it to where I'm specifically thinking of the ruby one. It generally has to do with like blood, and usually blood spells and like blood enchantments heal you or do a big damage buff at the cost of damaging you. So if you did a level, what is the ruby is like level 3, I think. If you did like a level 3 enchant on your dragon scimitar, you could have a buff that every so often when you slap your dragon scimitar, when you hit with your dragon scimitar, it rolls a critical hit. Maybe it's 2 hit splats, kind of like the twin flame staff. So you hit once, it maxes, and then you do half of your max hit as a second hit splat. But then it takes a percentage of your health away as an enchantment.
Yeah.
The thing that I think
a ruby spec perk for pretty much every weapon would be pretty cool.
Yeah. The thing that would be hard to balance around is charging it in some way, because like with jewelry, you have charges that go down and then eventually the piece of jewelry disappears. And then with bolts, they go away because they get consumed. So with armor and weapons, they would have to balance it around potentially like a charge meter. So every time you charge something, it's at 100%. And then every time you hit, it takes it down 1%. Or every time it's used, it takes it down 1%. And then once it's been fully depleted, you have to recast the spell to charge it. And it could even be something to where it degrades faster because like at the end of the day, you're using like minimal runes to cast these, unless they upped the ante and it was like, it's going to take 30 cosmic runes and 100 fire runes to enchant a dragon piece of armor. And then maybe for a fang, it's like 1,000 fire runes or something, or like blood runes and fire runes. So like it has to be like the cost to benefit ratio has to be higher, because the cost to benefit ratio is pretty much perfect when it comes to rubies, ruby bolts, or like bolts in general, and then jewelry. I know you posted the evolution of combat in the recording booth, but it is kind of like an evolution to combat, because you're changing the way that combat works outside of the norms that have been kind of put in place. But I think some sort of like how the diamond features on like bolts usually can hit through defense. So then maybe your weapons will do a small defense reduction every time the hit goes through. So maybe you can imbue your dragon warhammer with diamond to make it like a little bit more effective, or your elder maul, or your dragon dagger, or no, your bone dagger, or just something. I think that would be really, really interesting.
I think this enchantment works best with its own set, right? So hear me out, Sabaza. Instead of being able to enchant any weapons or any piece of armor, they have a specific, like, we'll call it just for laughs, bedazzled armor, right? You have like unenchanted, empty, bedazzled melee armor, right? And it's helmet, body, legs, just like Torva, right? And the bedazzled melee armor can have different effects for any weapon in the game based on what you put into it. And I actually really like Nicole's suggestion here. So the initial enchantment cost is 1,000 times, or maybe even 10,000 times the cost to enchant jewelry. So if it's like 2 cosmic and 10 fire runes, it's 20k cosmic and 100,000 fire runes to enchant each piece of armor. Because, oh no, Iron Men runes are so easy to come by. It's not even funny. Runes are a joke to come by in this game. So there's that piece of it. That's the enchantment cost. Honestly, I think if you are going to do an enchantment, you kind of have to include a GP fee too. Because the way you're describing it, Michael, there's no like the dragon scimitar that rolls twice for like 1,000 fire runes. That's an 80 mil weapon. There has to be some sort of like intense GP input to make it deter people from using it. Because like you just use that weapon until you get the scythe. And even then, it might outperform Scythe in some places. So I think if you have an armor set that works for it, right? So for rubies, I really like that idea of you have the chance to hit higher at the cost of a significantly more, like, what's the HP penalty for rubies? Like less than 10% of your health, you get hit like between a 6 and a 9. Maybe it's like 25% of your health. Like, could you imagine the trade-off there? Like in that situation where you get hit 15 to 20% of your health, you're at Verzik and you swing a claw and you get the special effect from your ruby enchanted bedazzled armor, and you hit Verzik for like a 250 with your claw spec, but you also take like 30 damage. Like it's kind of, it almost balances itself out in a way, because at a fight like Verzik or Ulm or Wardens, you kind of need to have a baseline HP. Auto attacks from particularly Verzik and Ulm, CM Ulm's autos are like a 46 by the time you get to P3. Off prayer. So like if you hit that big, if you crack off the on the mage hand, you hit a 200 like it's leagues, you got to eat up. And it kind of delays it a little bit because you're not attacking, or you're not doing as much damage, assuming that you have to eat through this, right? So that's the ruby one that makes sense. I think the diamond one, buffing accuracy, like substantially. Maybe the bedazzled diamond armor doubles accuracy. So it makes it like a weapon like the Fang effectively never misses, right? Maybe the emerald one, what does the emerald one even do? Maybe the emerald one like recharges special attack faster. Because I don't, off the top of my head, like,
isn't emerald like related to poison or something?
I don't know. It could be poison. It could be poison negation. It could be you act to poison your enemies, right? I think the sapphire one should have its own unique set of teleports. I think bedazzled sapphire armor should have a set of teleports for each item. Like the helmet has 2 teleports, the body has 2 teleports, the legs has 2 teleports. So that way you can mismatch it, right? Like if you're just like on a Slayer task or something, you could have like, you know, the sapphire legs and the diamond body and the Slayer helm, and you just go ahead and attack whatever. As far as cost and degradation, Nicole brings up the point that the gem chips away when they take damage. You can just have to refit the gems after like 40 charges, kind of like the Ring of Recoil, but attached to armor. Each gem would have a different effect on the armor. I think that on a grander scale, if you have to charge each piece of armor with like 1,000 cut rubies or 1,000 cut diamonds, you get 5,000 charges. And then when that degrades, you have to put another 5,000 rubies or another 5,000 diamonds into that piece of armor. I think weapons make it extraordinarily difficult. I think trying to charge weapons that don't give them effects that are so broken that they outdo the mega rares, because as we know, the mega rares, one of them in particular, is ruining combat in this game. Not ruining. It's fun as hell to use in combat in the game. It is brick walling future content in the game, right? So we don't want to add anything like that. So I don't know. I think this suggestion has a lot of fun potential.
Definitely.
Maybe this is where RuneScape gets its first tribrid armor. But what's the issue with tribrid armor? We have to find a way to balance the bedazzled tribrid armor set to offer niche improvements while not outdoing Torva Missouri Ancestral.
Mm-hmm.
We need to find the horizontal progression of where that makes the most sense. Maybe with this armor, right? Maybe this is the new best in slot Slayer armor, where you enchant it with red topaz or with opals, and you either get like bedazzled expeditious or bedazzled slaughter armor, and you can wear your gloves, but you're also sacrificing the potential strength bonus of whatever other piece you're wearing to have like a quote unquote eternal thing. Nicole also suggests elemental bonuses depending on the gem. That could be cool.
Yeah.
That could be real cool for Magic. This idea is cool. I don't know if this idea would be good to make it into the game, but the idea is fun to speculate. Do you have any other suggestions, Mike?
I don't, but Otis brings up Project Zenarea. So like if this could be implemented into a personal server or whatever they're calling it, that would be kind of fun. Just to mess around. I don't know if they have that level of intricacy to where you could like have stuff that's not in the main game, but be available in like a personal server. I don't think you can do that.
Is personal the right P word?
It's not private. I just don't remember what their term is for it. You're such a hater.
I am.
It's
I am a
fine.
filthy generational hater.
You are, but yeah, thank you, Sabaza, aka Dies Quite Often, for that fun question. You'll probably hear a fair few questions from him in the future. Maybe we'll lump some together just so we can have a longer form discussion. But I like to get the creative juices flowing. That is actually a really fun question.
Yeah, he did send us a couple of more, and the ones that I think we played at least one of them during the anniversary episode.
I think we
they're
played.
good.
Yeah,
they're out of left field. They're pretty weird, and I like them.
Let us know if you guys like that format of like having an audio fun question, because we could just
recording booth
open
chat
up.
doesn't like it. I'll tell you that. The
They
recording
don't.
booth chat doesn't like it.
Like I don't hear anything. But for the episode, the edited episode, if you guys like that format, maybe we can figure out a way that we can have some more audio submissions for actual fun questions outside of like our AMA episodes. But that's it for the fun question. If you guys want to ask a fun question, you can do so many different ways. If you're a member of the Patreon, you can access the fun questions channel. You can send us an email. You can DM us in game. You can DM us on Discord. You can send it to our social media, or you can send us a postcard, and we'll read the fun question there and put it up on the wall. The PO box address is in the description of each episode, so make sure to check that out. But that's it. That's the fun question. That's the episode. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this week. And even though the sailing alpha is over, I think there's still a lot we could talk about from it in the future. Hopefully we'll have some more betas or alphas.
We will have a lot to talk about. Yeah.
So any sort of content that comes out, if you guys are keen to hear our thoughts, let us know in the comments. You can find all of our social media places to leave comments on in the description below. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave a comment, do all that fun stuff. You can follow us on our Twitch, check out our merch store, check out our Patreon. All of that is in the description if you would like to check it out. But that's going to do it for the episode. Thanks, guys, for listening, and we'll check you guys out next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
We'll check you guys out next week. What the hell, Michael? That's cringe.
It's not the best outro we've ever had, but that's okay.